Good morning, crafty travelers. It's Lonnie, and this is October the 3rd. It's our third day of our girl camping birdwatching event in Clear Lake, California. Today, we're going to be going to the Peace and Plenty farm, which is a saffron farm here in Lake County. We're going to caravan over there and have a little coffee and fresh pastries, and then take a tour of the saffron farm. It should be very fun. I'll do a video as much as I can. Also, I've done a tour of the campground in a previous video, and I'll post that above. So come on along. And off we go to the Farm of Plenty, caravanning over there. It's a crisp morning of 52 degrees in Clear Lake. We're going around the lake halfway, about 13 miles to the farm.
Turn right at the traffic light.
Thank you, Mabel.
In 1.5 miles, turn right on California 29.
Here's another look at the Anderson Marsh, where we were yesterday. Lake view. So we're going to do the scenic route. There you go. There's the lake and the vineyards. I believe this is the road she pointed to when we were at the marsh yesterday. It comes along the hillside here.
Arrive at 4550 Soda Bay Road on the right.
Peace and Plenty Safron. the rooster there?
Recovering from foot surgery.
Aww.
Thanks so much for coming. Farm. Yeah.
This is the farmer.
Yeah, we've had some major things happening this last couple of weeks. It's pretty exhausting. We had a major television camera crew come out, 16 people, filming us on Thursday and Friday. So
When will that come out to see?
it'll come out in the spring, in March, and I'm not allowed to tell you the name of the program yet.
Okay.
But it will be on PBS nationwide. Their goal was to make it look like Biggest Little Farm, you know, that beautifulness of photography, and it is. Wow. Like, I didn't recognize the farm. And then next week we have Sunset Magazine coming out.
Oh,
Wow.
what?
That's great.
And you were in Martha Stewart magazine recently, too.
Last year?
Last year.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of what started this whole thing, getting all this attention. And that just came about from me using a hashtag on Instagram. Hashtag Saffron is what brought this all about. Like, we wouldn't have found this without social media.
This is an autumn blooming crocus. So I was here a couple of weeks ago. I did the tour twice with them, so I could hear more about what else is going on in the farm. And you couldn't see any crocus, so we'll see what's happening here. The biggest market or place where saffron comes from is Iran. And in the United States, the Amish and the Mennonites are also very much into the farming of saffron. They were curious about farming. They knew they wanted to farm together and didn't know what they were going to farm. So they were looking for a high cash value, easy, well, the easy part didn't happen, but they found, Simon was listening to a radio station and found out a little bit about saffron, so they did the research and went to Vermont for a saffron workshop, and Melinda bought 7,000 corms, and they didn't have a farm yet. They had 500,000 corms, and that was last year. So the corms are mothers, and they have daughters, so they multiply.
Oh, what a great thing. That's wonderful. So when did they get the first corms?
Their first crop was 2017.
Okay. Wow.
Melinda was a model for Givenchy. They were getting organized on the farm, so she did the farm part-time. And Simon is an ornithologist. He was working up at Chico, I think, when they met. Oh, wow. This farm is 7 acres, and everything on the other side of the road is not theirs, but you can see their whole space here. It goes out to the road and to the vineyard there, and then we'll walk to the back and you'll see the back fence. It's also an Airbnb, so this little cottage is available to rent. That's beautiful. And there's an Airstream tucked over here that they also rent, and they're available on Airbnb. And then Simon and Melinda live in their farmhouse, and they also have woofers. So these are workers who travel around the world to work on organic farms. So you'll see the little travel trailer over here. There are woofers in there, and I think there were a couple of tents when I was here. I'll give you the lay of the land, then we'll walk around.
Thank
you know the chickens here, and normally you can feed the chickens right here at the fence line, but there's a little sign you'll see that Wilbur is healing, and she's been posting about that, so I was aware of that. And then before we leave, we'll go through the farm stand where you can purchase things. This is a cooling box that Simon built. It's the second one. He has another one under the water tower, and he's really brilliant. He's using his engineering skills that I don't know if he knew he had to build stuff for really good price. You know, he looks at the market, sees how expensive things are, and then figures out how to build them DIY.
Nice.
So they do it.
So what is a cold box?
Oh, well, they need to store cold storage.
Okay.
For the market garden and for the saffron as it's drying.
Okay. Gotcha. Happened.
It's not grown in a greenhouse, it's grown outside.
Yes. Oh, yes, and we'll see that. Why don't we start there, and then we'll walk around the rest. first put them in the ground, they put them straight into the ground, and they really fed the ground squirrels. All up, and Simon devised this bed type. So the screen you see on the sides is also on the bottom. So then the ground squirrels can't get.
And it keeps it from the dirt.
And so by the end of October, this will be a field of green, and you won't see the lavender here unless the lavender colored petals unless you're here early in the morning, because Simon and Melinda's crew will have picked them all, and then they come out again in the morning. So it's true, I've seen it. You could start at this end and pick the whole thing, pick every purple thing, and when you turn around, and so if you can imagine the back-breaking work, you have to figure out which position you want to take. You can do this, and you reach back and forth and do this quadrant, and do this, or you might do this, and do this, and do this. So there are several positions, but it is, low to the ground, really physical work. Nobody that's growing saffron has figured out a machine to harvest the saffron. They've just reset the irrigation. They don't irrigate over the summer, so they'll start irrigating now. This wasn't set up a couple weeks ago when I toured. And then by like the second or third week of October, you'll start seeing blooms and harvest will start, and it's 3 to 4 weeks of harvest.
Oh, so they haven't come up yet.
Right, so it's this long dormant stage, and then some water, and then fast and furious.
And then they just come up and bloom.
And then you're done.
Wow.
Is that the flower?
The petals are purple.
But they pick the petals and then they pick the stamen
Pick
as
the
well?
whole blossom.
Okay.
And then those over to these tables, and then you sit down with your coffee. If you're not like if you're like me, I'm a tourist, right? But I'm helping. So you sit down there with your coffee, and you pick the stamens out. There are 3 threads, and they're that red color. Yeah. You take those out, and you put them in a little tiny dish.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
And then you throw the blossom with the stigma still in it that has the pollen on it. Throw those in another basket. And then we end up tossing them, so you'll just see a field of, a big patch of the blossoms full of bees buzzing. Yeah. And the bees are also in the blossoms in the morning. The first blossom I picked, I got stung by a bee.
Ooh.
And then you learn to do this before you pick the blossom, so you shoo the bees away.
Do they have some beehives here?
They do now. They didn't until recently.
Okay.
So follow on Instagram and see what happens, because she's a really good documentarian about the process and the excitement of the harvest here.
Oh, yeah.
Put the link on.
I love
Peace
growing
and
purples
Plenty
there, 'cause
Farm
they come up
in
so quick,
Kelsyville, California.
bloom really quick, and then they're gone.
So on the property there are also oaks and walnuts. These are walnuts right here, and you'll see they leave the dead. I think they cleaned it up for the photo shoot. So their point about leaving the dead is for the critters. 4.4 pounds was their.
But that's why they.
Yes. So they sell it in the farm stand here. I think it's $30 for a little jar.
So do they mill it themselves, or is there something?
So it's
they
a
need to
drying
do?
process.
Okay, so it's all.
So once we have taken the stamen out of the flower, and then we have it in these little jars, they spread it on trays, and it dries. It dries for 8 months. Wow. And then it gets bottled or jarred or however they're going to. What they realized is that they needed more income on this working farm, so they developed the market garden, and they're much more happy with their growing skills and picking the right things to grow and marketing it properly. And then they also put in this cutting garden, so they have flowers, and you can buy the little bouquets, and they dry flowers also. And then they also put in the lavender, so that is their leach field, and you can't put food in there as a crop, but they could put lavender in there. So it's a great use of that space.
And that's a lot.
A year ago, and they're still lovely on my counter.
They dry the flowers.
And then they sell them in the market.
Okay.
So this is the cutting garden. Go this way.
Lavender fields. The septic leach lines are under this, therefore they cannot grow anything edible. So they grow their lavender here. block name is Peace and Plenty. We're all going into the store. Getting our Girl Camper stickers and having more goodies. Leaving Peace and Plenty Farm. Well, what did you think of the Peace and Plenty Farm? Wasn't it beautiful? We had some coffee and rolls before we did our walk, and Lisa gave us a wonderful tour of the farm. It even has a quilt block on their barn, and it's called Peace and Plenty. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Comment, share, and subscribe. And stay crafty when visiting Peace and Plenty Farm in Kelsyville, California.